Today, we are diving into one of the most brilliant and honestly most misunderstood pieces of engineering in the entire human body.
You're using it right now, but you're probably thinking about it all wrong. I'm talking about your knee, of course. And believe me, over the next few minutes, you're going to see why it's not just some simple joint, but an absolute masterpiece of evolutionary engineering.
All right, let's just jump right in. When you picture your knee, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most people, it's a hinge, right? Something that just bends back and forth. But is that really all it is? Just a simple hinge? And look, on the surface, that comparison kind of makes sense. I mean, a door hinge, a knee, they both seem to pivot. But that super simple analogy, it's not just an oversimplification. It's just plain wrong. Let's dig into why. Okay, so first up, let's talk about what makes the human knee so incredibly special. It has this locking superpower. Seriously. And it's pretty much the reason we as humans stand apart, literally, from the rest of the animal kingdom. Just look at the difference here. We humans can straighten our leg out to a perfect 0-degree extension. But a chimpanzee? Nope. Their knee is always a little bit bent. So for them to stand upright, they've got to constantly burn muscle energy. And that is just super inefficient. Well, the answer lies in this really special trick that's built right into the design of our knee. You see, the human knee has a superpower that most other animals just don't. It can fully lock into place. And this isn't just about straightening your leg. It's a completely distinct mechanical event.
The official name for this is the screw-home mechanism. Basically, as your knee gets to that last little bit of extension, the bones actually rotate slightly and lock together, kind of like screwing the lid on a jar. The most amazing part? It's totally passive. You're not using your muscles to hold that position. Your skeleton is doing all the heavy lifting.
And this is what that looks like. Once it's locked, your leg becomes this incredibly stable column of bone. So instead of relying on muscles that get tired, you're literally just resting on your own internal architecture. This is really the first key to how we can stand upright for so long. So here's the bottom line. Our knees, they're built for stability. They lock, which means we can just stand around without burning a bunch of energy. Animal knees, on the other hand, are all about power. They stay bent, kind of coiled up, ready to spring into action. Because for them, survival depends on explosive movement, not chilling out while standing still. Yeah, really think of an animal's knee like a powerful, coiled spring. That always bent position is absolutely perfect for storing and then releasing a massive amount of energy for a sudden sprint or a huge leap. It's a completely different design because it's for a completely different job.
Okay, so we've established our knee is nothing like an animal's. But let's circle back to that whole hinge idea. If it's not just a simple hinge, then what on earth is it doing? Well, it's time to deconstruct its true, way more complex motion.
Think about it. A door hinge just swings on one axis. Simple. Your knee? Whoa, no, it's doing 3 things at once. It rolls, it glides, and it even spins a little bit. That's what we call axial rotation. And all 3 of those movements have to happen in perfect harmony for your knee to work properly.
And this is where things get really interesting, because it brings up this fascinating biomechanical puzzle. If you look at the actual bones, the surface on the end of your thigh bone, that's the femur, is almost twice as long as the flat surface on top of your shin bone, the tibia. So, here's the question. If the femur just rolled like a wheel on that smaller surface, why doesn't it just roll right off the back?
The answer is just, it's a beautiful and elegant solution. As the femur rolls backward, it also has to slide forward at the exact same time. It's this incredible combination of rolling and gliding, all controlled by your ligaments, that keeps the joint perfectly centered and stable. It's an amazing piece of natural engineering that stops your knee from dislocating every single time you take a step. So let's finally put a name to it. If it's not a hinge, what is it? The proper term is a bicondylar joint. Now, it is a type of modified hinge, sure, but it's those 2 distinct curved surfaces that make the magic happen. They're what allow for that complex symphony of rolling, gliding, and rotation. We're talking about something so much more sophisticated than a simple pin in a door.
But here's the thing. The knee doesn't work all by itself. Not at all. It's a super crucial link in what's called the body's kinetic chain.
So when your knee locks straight, it completely transforms. It goes from being a flexible joint to a solid, stable pillar. This creates this rigid bridge that efficiently channels all your body weight straight from your hip, down through the knee, and right into the ground. Without this,
Trying to stand would be like trying to balance on a stack of wobbly Jenga blocks. Okay, so this all sounds incredibly efficient, right? Which leads to a question I know you've all asked yourselves at some point. Let's solve the mystery of why just standing around gets so darn tiring. But wait a minute, if the knee locks and it's so crazy energy efficient, why does standing in one spot for a long time make your legs ache? I mean, if the knee isn't the one working hard, what is? Where is that feeling of fatigue actually coming from? All right, let's play detective. First suspect, the hip. You might think your big hip muscles are doing all the work, but they have a secret weapon. It's called the iliofemoral ligament, and it's the strongest one in your entire body. When you stand, your skeleton literally just hangs on this ligament. This lets your hip muscles pretty much take a nap. So, nope, the fatigue isn't coming from your hips.
Okay, so it's not the hip. Let's look at the joint just below the knee, the ankle. Now, it's a really stable joint, what they call a mortise joint, where your leg bones grip your ankle bone, kind of like a wrench. But, and this is the key, unlike the knee, your ankle has zero passive locking mechanism. It can't just click into place and, relax.
And there it is. That's our culprit. The real reason you get tired from standing is because of the constant, tiny muscle contractions happening in your lower legs and around your ankles. Your calf and shin muscles are working non-stop, making all these little micro adjustments to keep you from swaying and tipping over. That's what gets so tired. So, let's wrap this all up. The next time you think about your knee, please don't picture a simple door hinge. Instead, picture this sophisticated bicondylar joint. It's a true marvel of engineering that locks, rolls, glides, and spins all in one. It's an absolute masterpiece that allows us to stand tall. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other supposedly simple parts of our bodies, the ones we take for granted every day, are actually these incredible hidden marvels of engineering? Definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.